As a poison and a carcinogenic. Never thought I'd say those words, and that I would never drink it again, even if you paid me. If I ever was to drink again, I am on a mission, and it is never to come back. Plain and simple. And it would do the trick, because it is that lethal. We poison ourselves and self-sabotage ourselves with multiple things. But alcohol is one of the biggest things on this planet, and one of the biggest weapons against us and our subconscious. 2018, I thought I actually had it all figured out, my accountability and under control of what I was self-sabotaging with, and I wasn't going to do it anymore. But I needed to get out of Maine and change my environment, because that was the problem. It wasn't me, it was my environment. It was the people and everything around me making me do certain things. Sound familiar? Anyway, so I ran to Texas to live with my military sister, as I call her, because, well, I was in the military with her and I knew her for over 20 years. I moved down to Texas. Not even within 6 months, it seemed that the steamroller was rolling. I actually thought things were under control until they weren't anymore. And my coping mechanism returned to what? Alcohol. In a situation that I didn't want to be in. I put myself there by my own choices and my own blocks. Less, I did it. And when the universe decided to hit me over a frying pan because I decided to get in the car and drive while not even really sober. Nonetheless, cars are lethal weapons whether you are intoxicated or not. You could just be on your cell phone or just not paying attention. Trust me, I've hit a deer. Yeah, no, I knew I wasn't walking away from that. That was big trouble for me. I take a hard look at myself, but it wasn't instant. And I'll tell you that. Everyone wants to know where the healing journey begins. Well, it's when you actually decide that you have enough. And for me, it did nothing but cement more fear into me in a way. I knew I wasn't walking away from it, but it made me want to check out. Literally check out. I had it all planned. I had everything, but because of my daughters, I didn't. Which is not exactly the right reason to stay, but it eventually ended up for myself. So, yeah. I held on for them because I couldn't do that to someone, even as much pain as I was in. And in a way, it was cowardly because I just didn't want to face the music, honestly, or this prison thing that we were looking at, or be in trouble. We're all afraid of being in trouble type of thing. I realized that I had to face the music is when my accountability just really took full effect. So I would sit with myself every morning and do my meditation, and I would say my mantras and my prayers, and I would reflect and sit and get the downloads, because every single one of you has that. You just have to detox the body and fully be aware and sit with yourself in silence. We are all energy, and it's your intuition, it's the voice in your head, and remembering who you are will become easier because it will just come back to you like that, because it is exactly that. Remembering who you are, awakening your inner child that has been put to sleep because you've been indoctrinated and conditioned into this zombie robot that is playing this masculine energy, which is your sun sign, and you're playing in survival mode and you're enslaved. How'd I digress? Back to my journey. So I continued with the 12 steps on my own. Put myself in a program, a 2-month program of, alcohol, like substance abuse recovery type of thing. Classes. I ended up not making the second half of that because, well, my car died. I killed it because I didn't listen to the nudge saying turn around and go back this afternoon. Do not go this in the AM. I continued because I was halfway there, and then I ran over a tire tread and completely ripped out the bottom of my car, and then it completely bottomed out. So yeah, but it got me to my destination right in front of it. Then had to be towed and totaled. But yeah, so listen to those nudges. Even if you never find out why they got nudged, it doesn't matter. Listen to the nudge. They're never wrong. Just do what they say. It's a little inner guide. But if you're poisoning yourself, you won't hear them, especially with alcohol. You'll just think they're, you're letting all the demons and the bad energy in. There is no demons, but the bad energy of what's floating around here, it feels like demons. But yeah, you're more susceptible to it because you are drinking a lower vibration and a depression and a poison. I was doing the recovery for alcohol. I honestly thought it was going to stop there. And I still wasn't at the point where I never thought I would never drink again. I just knew that it wasn't going to be something that I could use. And I had to be more of an adult and take accountability with my emotions and deal with them. And I don't know, deal with the pain, whatnot. The shadow work, it kind of came natural in a way because it ended up being epiphanies after epiphanies after epiphanies once my brain started drying out from the alcohol and all the connections of how I grew up and what happened with my mom or what happened with my stepfather and, just different things growing up. The connections, the psychosomatic, subconscious things, the entire world and institution, like just little nudges and keys. It was just, oh my God. It was amazing. I was like, wow, why was I running from this? Oh yeah, it's a lot because, it gets busy up in here. But even when I was doing all that, I knew I wasn't my addiction. I was the problem. It wasn't the substance that was the problem. I'm going to give the substance any more power over me to be like, oh, I have this. No, I don't want you. I don't desire you. I just was using you and abusing you. That's all I was doing, and self-sabotaging myself, giving something more power than it needs and lessening ours. That was the trick bag for me, and that was the switch where I started connecting the dots of institutions, where I was like, your AAs and your recovery aren't recovery. They're keeping people trapped in the fact that they're still helpless and you think they have a disease and they don't have control over anything at this point. They're using it to escape the trauma and their emotions, and now you're telling them that they have something wrong with them and they can't even control that. Oh my God, no. And again, it took prison to realize we were in prison. And that's where it started with the food as well. That's when I realized that, in prison, they have their own cattle and farm, and they use fillers and hormones. And I could see it in everyone that ate it. And that's where I started connecting that. And of course, nicotine companies took over processed foods out here in, our free world, as you would call it, and so on and so forth. It's all been corrupt since day one, and it's all been the long game, and we've played it very well. Enslavement never died. It just consistently stayed. Again, back to the alcohol, which is a big enslavement. If you find it funny that it's legal, but the things that are good for us are hard to find and are illegal. Make that make sense.